Hello everyone, my name is Acapella. Today we're going to be bringing you another map guide for Ana. Today we're looking at Junkertown, attack and defense. I'm going to be having it in one video today. I'm just going to kind of test some things. This is the first one I've done that's outside of control, so things may be a little bit scuffed. So I apologize in advance if it's hard to look at, but we're going to give it our best shot. So we'll go ahead and get things going. I may not even do standards and snipers. I may just have one set of positioning, but we'll see how things go here. So we're going to start on defense here on first point. Generally, I'll be kind of showing off the fights where they happen in yellow. So there are a couple of places where fights are going to happen. So generally happen around here, you know, with this transitioning to here-ish, and then last point being here. So I'll kind of go over the couple of places you play around here for standards and then potentially for snipers. I'm not sure yet, we'll see. We'll just kind of start off with like the standard positioning for defense. So I actually did a VOD review earlier today where we had some people standing up here. This spot is a big no-no. Do not play here ever. Don't do it. If you play there, you're going to make your team sad when you die. A horrible death to a monkey or something like that. So if your team is holding up here first, up in this top spot right here, it's a very difficult spot to hold, which is why I don't like playing there. But when that happens, you're going to be playing on this little archway over here on top. But otherwise, if your team is holding down here or down here, you should be looking to hold around this box. This box right here is going to be your savior. So you're going to be playing around this, and then, you know, as they start to push the cart more and more, then you can look to rotate around towards the back of these stairs, back here, and either up the stairs slightly, in the room, or below. These are going to be your three big spots. Other side of the point aren't that good for defense. I'll say it now, like over here, right here is not good. It's not a good spot to be playing in. It gives you very limited cover, which, you know, it may give you cover from the front side, but then if someone peeks from over here, then you're not safe here. So generally just playing around this left side, playing around cover as much as physically possible will give you a lot better chance of living and surviving, you know, in these three spots, or even playing high ground here up top. I'll kind of put one here. This is going to be your best bet, especially on this first point. And then if you're looking to recontest for this last point, you can either look to play on this top or once again underneath and then like right around here. Right, those are going to be your several big spots. This is specifically for defense. So we will go ahead and move on to snipers here. Snipers, lots and lots of sight lines to play on this map specifically. We'll kind of show some spots that they play in black on top of this building, here on this bridge, here, back here even, and then like over here. These are kind of the big places for snipers to take angles at. So generally, spots are going to be playing in a pretty similar, just with more emphasis around those cover areas. Obviously, you're not going to want to take these stairs. Instead, you're going to want to look to play inside here, as well as inside here, depending on where they're at. If you see the sniper way over here, obviously this is going to be a bit more safe. But if they're playing over here, inside here with this health pack is going to be a little bit more safe. First half of the point as well is just generally going to be the same thing, playing right in this area, and then looking to rotate when possible. So yeah, that's going to do it for defense here. I will switch over to attack here. All right, so we're on to attack now here on the first point. Generally, you're just going to be kind of looking to, actually, I'll kind of show off the fights again where we take our positions at. This first corner is going to be a big one for your team to be holding at, then up to here, here, and then finally here. Obviously, just kind of following this route along it. I'll erase that, but yeah. So you're going to be looking to play around where, you know, where your team is pushing. So for the standard positioning, right out of the gate, looking to play on these stairs, you know, as you escort the cart. Attack on these maps, it's going to be looking a little bit more linear. just because you kind of have to stick around where card is at all times. So you kind of, the position you take is kind of fluid. You know, as the card moves forward more, you move forward more. So looking, you know, after your team is done in this area, you're going to look to move up here a little bit further. And then once again, as the card moves forward, looking to take one of these two corners here. Generally, I don't like, oh, I forgot to erase this from earlier. Whoops. Generally, I don't like taking this angle over here. It puts you out of the fight for way too long. So just kind of sticking behind card here as your team keeps pushing, you know, push through. And then when you get to this point here, this third X, you can look to play at this corner here, keeping yourself safe from, you know, people who are on these stairs in this high ground area, and then even potentially over here, if you see that they're taking these stairs pretty aggressively behind this bus. But just, you know, keep in mind of this window that's up here. It is a very dangerous spot to peek at if you're playing across on this bus. And then for the last fight, you can look to once again play at this bus or play at this corner. These last two fight areas are pretty similar. So yeah, that's going to be the standard for attack. We'll move on to the snipers here actually. Once again, pretty similar, but it depends on where the snipers are peeking at. You have to adapt to where they are. So biggest sniper spots are going to be this water tower here, this top right. Oh, I just missed. I can't, like, I'm gonna like put a pointer to it. Oh wait, it does, like, okay, right here. There we go. It's hard to see because of the overlay thing, but right up top there, here, and then like here. So just keep in mind the LOS of the enemy team, you know, where they're going to be playing at, where you need to be safe from. If they're on this water tower, obviously you're not going to want to cross this. So instead of crossing like that, you'll look to just, you know, obviously same spots here, and then looking to push up to here. And then instead of crossing over to this left one, you just look to move over to this one here. And then obviously as the cart keeps moving forward, keep in mind, figure out where the snipers are, figure out how you need to adapt to them. But generally they do like taking these high ground. So this like thing, these two cars right here, generally want to stay away from once again, because you have to cross such a long gap to get there, which leaves you open for a long amount of time. So once again, this little box right here is going to be your best friend as your team pushes into this last part. And you can even potentially look to take an off angle in here as well. This is something I've seen some players take. It's not super consistent depending on how the enemy team is playing, but that's also an option as well. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for first point, I think. You know, we did both attack and defense, so we'll go ahead and move on here to second. All right, here we are. We are looking at point 2 here. We're going to be looking at attack and defense. Once again, we'll be looking at the defense first, since we did that first in the last one. But first we'll kind of be going over where the fights happen. So a couple different spots where fights happen, depending on where your team is contesting at from last point. But biggest spots are going to be right here, here, potentially up top here, in this corner area here, and then obviously in the last spot here. So a couple different spots to keep in mind as we go forward here, but once again we'll be looking at defense here. So a couple options here. High ground, very, very strong here. This high ground here, and then even potentially this high ground for like a flank ante, are going to be very big assets to you. But obviously if they have snipers, if they have, you know, dive characters, you may not want to be playing up here as much. Or if you do play up here, don't be sticking around as often. Even here actually as well, because of this health pack that's right here. These give you a ton of commanding pressure over the enemy team, you know, allowing you to hit antis pretty easily, allowing you to hit sleeps pretty easily. But once again, just leaving you very open and very in a very dangerous position. So play there at your own risk. Otherwise, you can look to play down on the ground here at this corner for any of these 3 spots. This, and this. You can look to play at this corner. Keeps you pretty safe from getting dove from the enemy team just in general. Then obviously as your team gets pushed back, you'll look to rotate around to this corner here. play either at this corner or inside here on the health pack. And then if your team gets pushed back even further, you're going to want to look to play back here underneath, or up top actually. You can look to play like underneath. I need to like make different. I'll make like a circle or something for different ones. But yeah, either underneath or up top here are going to be your big ones, right? This gives you the most value out of cover. This gives you the most, you know, it leaves you less open to enemy fire, enemy dives, that kind of stuff. So obviously this game is so fluid and so different that you need to be able to adapt at any time. So if, you know, if they switch to like a monkey or something like that, you may need to drop down here. But yeah, so just kind of use these as general guidelines, and then, you know, as things change, especially with the enemy team, then you may want to change up your strategy. So we'll go on to attack here as well. So we're actually not moving on to the attack here. We're moving on to our snipers. First of all, generally just don't play up top. That's going to be your big thing, is don't play up top here. That's going to be the big source of advice from me. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty similar. Playing this corner, obviously if they peek you up top here, if a sniper takes an angle up top here, you're going to want to back away. But, you know, make sure you're communicating to your team, be like, hey, I can't peek that. Or, you know, try and get someone to help you dive them and keep them at bay. Another option is in this doorway that's down here. It's a little hard to see because of the map. This doorway down here, because you have this health pack, you're able to play here, fairly safe from snipers. And once again, as you keep pushing, to rotate around to this corner here, and then even further back to here, right? You do not want to play up top here, just play underneath. It's safer. No reason to put yourself in a easy position to get sniped once again. I'll kind of show off some of the angles the snipers take as well. We already have this one. We have this one up top here. We have this one here. We have this one here, and like maybe this corner too if they push past it. But these are going to be the general areas where the sniper is going to be playing at. So just keep that in mind as you play, to keep yourself safe from those. So now we will move on to our attack here. All right, so now we are here on attack. Fights are going to be pretty much the same thing for you, obviously. Positioning, though, it's going to be a little bit different. First spot, for sure, going to be down at this corner right here, or down at this corner, depending on which way your team is pushing from. If they push from this tunnel back here, you'll be playing here, but if you push from the right side, or from last point, you'll be looking to play at this corner. Then look to rotate across to this health pack here. There's a health pack down here. You can't see it because of the map. Look to play across here. And then once again, as the fight progresses and the payload pushes, you're just kind of keep following this payload around, playing around these different lack of sight lines for the enemy teams, so that way you stay safe. You know, but just as the card moves. So general rule of thumb, especially on second point for escorts, is you do not want to be on top of the payload. You want to let someone else be pushing the payload unless like the enemy team is dead. Otherwise, you should not be on the payload like at all. You should be playing back, and you know, let your team take a lot of the damage. I don't necessarily like to take this high ground here as much. It just kind of takes too much time to get up here and in a good position. But this is a potential spot to play from. Otherwise, just, you know, kind of look to rotate across here, and then even over here to this doorway. Those are going to be your big ones for attacking, not against snipers, obviously, against our standard. So we'll switch over to snipers as well here. I'll just kind of keep on the same one. Once again, very big emphasis on sticking around cover. The sniper angles that players like to take, obviously right here and right here are big ones. Even this flank here, but this isn't as often. Here, and then up here as well, here and here. Right, those are going to be your big 5 spots that snipers will play from usually. So to combat this, depending on where they're playing at, look to stick to the right side instead. So, you know, instead of going across, you want to stick to this right side a little bit more as you push up. That way it's a lot harder for them to kill you, and if they do peek you, it puts them in a very, very dangerous position, right? Because they have to go to the edge, right, to look down on you. So this kind of puts you in a lot better position as you move around. And then once again, obviously keep sticking to this right side, because you in general you just don't want to cross here. It puts you in so much danger going there, you know, unless you absolutely know it's safe, but otherwise it's just safer to stick along this right side, sticking underneath even right here and right here. These will generally just give you the most value to protect yourself from the enemy snipers. So that's going to be it for second point. We'll move on to third here in a second. Yeah. All right, so lastly, we're going to be going on to a third point here. Obviously, we have this moving cylinder in the middle here as our big you know, feature for this map. We'll be looking at defense here once again, standard again versus snipers. And I'll show off the different places we play at first. Once again, depending on where your team is at, where the enemy team is at, fights will be happening in a couple different places. Here's the first one. This corner's another big one. This corner's a big one. Here, and then finally here. These are like the big benchmarks because each one has like its own little corner to swing around for tanks to play around. And then sometimes stuff happens up top here, but that's not super often. So yeah, once again, we'll be looking at defense here first. This like long stretch here, I do not like to play in at all. Unless you win the fight and you're taking an aggressive angle, like super aggressive angle, like almost spawn camping, it's very dangerous to play here like almost at all. So like what I like to see happen is playing at this corner back here. This one gives you the most cover, most value, allowing you to stay alive for your team. Playing underneath here it happens sometimes, but you know, just crossing over here is so dangerous that it's just not necessarily worth it. You know, if you're going to die, like, is it really worth it to get to that position? And then after that, you know, as the fight progresses to the second and third spot, just be looking to, you know, kind of stick around this cover. This corner is another benchmark where you're going to want to hold. Here's another benchmark. And then finally, when we get to the last little area, be looking to hold here, around this wall, or around this wall, right? Obviously, if you come out the left door from spawn, you can potentially hold over here. But otherwise, these three are going to be your best bet because, you know, most likely you're going to be pushed here, you know, by the enemy team. So yeah, this left side is a little bit iffy just because it's so up in the enemy team, but these three right here are going to be your big ones. Yeah, but like if we go back to the first half, you can see like almost nowhere is played. Especially this Ana. So we'll go into snipers actually as well. Kind of show some of that off. We'll show some of the sniper positions that they like to hold at. For the first part, hold here, and then they like to play here. Then, you know, moving up to here, obviously on the fidget spinner as it's called. Window, even up here, or like even lower here. So like a lot of places for you to worry about. That's why being an Ana player sucks so much, is like you have a million different things to worry about, right? But once again, very big emphasis on this low ground, on this you know, this area where, you know, you're safe from the enemy team. You know, this same spot is pretty safe from both of these angles taken right here. And once again, as you get pushed back, you're going to look to rotate around. Sorry for the mess on the screen. There's a lot to look at. But then, you know, as the snipers look to push forwards and forwards, once again, playing on this underneath right here is good, and then playing around this right side, and then maybe looking to walk out as needed, depending on where they peek from. If they peek from this angle over here, then you may need to back up a little. But it's generally going to be the same areas that you play in. I don't change my playstyle up too much for this map against snipers specifically. So yeah, make sure you're staying adaptive. So, and we'll also move on to attack as well here, and to finish things off. All right, so we're on to attack here to finish this video off. Once again, just kind of sticking with cart as it moves, playing around, you know, cover, natural cover, using whatever possible. First this door, then looking to push up here to this little stair area as your team, you know, fights around this this fight and choke point. And then once again to this corner. But as you get into this last stretch, this is where things change up a little. You can actually look to take this inside area here and here and play from down here, where even if you're really, really aggressive, you can take a angle up here. Right? I don't necessarily recommend this high ground here as much, but this one for sure is going to be your big key place to play at for this last stretch here, for this last bit of point that we have left. This is going to be your big power point. You get a ton of vision, and obviously you can look to, you know, if your team is pushing up too aggressively, you can look to walk up. But for the most part, you want to be playing here and then potentially looking to push up to this corner. Yeah. So after that, we'll go into snipers. This is, you know, pretty basic stuff for the standard. Snipers, we'll kind of go over some of the positions that they like to take again. Once again. So first point up here, up on this, once again, the fidget spinner area, and here, these are going to be big ones, you know, where they can get sights down onto you. Obviously, if they're playing on this big fidget spinner thing, once again, it's going to be pretty similar to the standard comp, where you're just kind of following the same route. It just leaves you, you know, it's this route is just so incredibly safe that there's no real reason to change it up at all. You're just playing down here whenever possible. But then once again, we switch things up as we get to third. Obviously, this area, and this area are big hot spots. So we need to be wary of their LOS, right? You know, they can see different spots. So, you know, adjust yourself accordingly depending on where they're at. But pretty much gonna be the same here. You can hold this you know, this doorway here as well as this corner. And then even potentially looking to across to this corner. Obviously, when it's safe and when, you know, if your team is shielding you, that's when you want to go across underneath here. But otherwise, it's pretty much going to be the same as the standard. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be it from me. That covers, you know, both attack and defense on all 3 points for Junkertown. Once again, this is for Anna, so keep that in mind. But yeah, if you're enjoying the videos, go ahead and like, subscribe, you know, the whole shtick, the whole YouTube mantra. So yeah, once again, I've been Acapella. Thank you guys for watching so much. Have a good day.